Alright, fellow Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fans, Anthony Marsh Jr. on PRLostGalaxy2014. This was 6 years in the making, even though I should have did this review 6 years ago, 5 years ago even, but here I am with my review, my very long review on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Legacy Dragonzord from previously Bandai of America, even though I can't believe I'm even doing this review in the Hasbro era. What I have here is a Legacy Dragonzord that was a final reissue from Bandai before the license before their license with Power Rangers expired back in April, by the time Hasbro even got the franchise and the toy rights. And I know that I should have did the Dragonzord review back in season 2 of the toy reviews on YouTube and stuff, but here I am on YouTube, Dailymotion, and Facebook doing this review. This was a reissue of the Dragonzord back last year when Bandai was going all out, putting out all of their legacy items. So I knew I was going to be one of the late comers into the party getting a Dragonzord. And also be advised, this is the first time in my entire life as a Power Rangers fan, and also knowing that growing up when Mighty Morphin was airing almost close to 3 decades ago, back when the original season 1 stuff was out, back in the 90s, I never did own a Dragonzord before. Even I think there was good reason not to get the 90s Dragonzord toy, because I knew the Legacy toy was just that damn accurate. And it took me 6 motherfucking years, 6 motherfucking years to get the Dragonzord. Yeah, time for some Dragonzord power. Yeah, I know, because 6 years long overdue, but even though we're on Hasbro's territory with Power Rangers, but there's something from Bandai I've been wanting to get my hands on from Power Rangers' legacy line left, and Dragonzord was the first to go. So this is the box right in front of me, because I should have got the Dragonzord a long time ago, but you should know my struggle back in 2014 for those who watched my content initially. So when I got the Legacy Dragonzord was last year, and I went on Amazon and spent $70, you know, $70, $69-ish to get this Dragonzord. And good thing I got it too via free shipping on Amazon, because otherwise if I went to GameStop or somewhere, but even though it was going to be cheap, because knowing Bandai was going to lose the license anyway, and somewhere around the copyright dates, oh yeah, 2018, because knowing that this was when Bandai was about to go all out and lose the rights because Hasbro was going to buy the franchise, and knowing Saban long gone, thank God is gone. So you see copyright 2018 Bandai and copyright 2018 SCG Power Rangers, basically Saban themselves. On the side of the box, for those who still had this box still as a collectible though, everybody knows the story of MMPR, so pretty much 5 teenagers with attitude combining a space witch. On the back is the Dragonzord image plus the die-cast parts and detail. Unfortunately, I'm no longer getting the Legacy Dino Megazord, and knowing that getting that Megazord is too expensive nowadays, so I'm going to skip on the original Legacy Megazord, because the thing is, when the original Megazord came out in 2013 around Megaforce and the 20th anniversary 7 years ago, I could have gotten the Legacy Megazord, but no, I'll probably just get the Solar Chigogan version when I can even afford it. Yeah, because this is the first time owning a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Zord that's based on the original Green Ranger. I mean, for all the times I've talked crap about the Green Ranger recently because of how overblown and overrated he is in today's times and in the fandom and all that. This is just the box, even though I already had Dragonzord out a while ago. So let's take a look at Dragonzord in all my glory on camera. Dragonzord! If only if I had the power morpher just to do that. Yeah, so this is Dragonzord in all of its glory, and basically, see, unlike the 90s toy, this actually looks more TV show authentic. Oh great, these people in the background with that run in the water, excuse me. You know, those people upstairs in my room, you know, over my room, running all that water like that. Yeah, but if you can barely hear me. So this is Dragonzord in all my glory, you know, all its glory, because I'm glad I didn't get the original 90s toy, because the 90s toy barely looked like the Dragonzord off the show. I mean, even though despite how chubby and thick it looked, but this was more authentic to what Dragonzord always looked on the show and in Jew Ranger, so that was one of the reasons why aka Dragon Caesar in Zoo Ranger. So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I waited for back when Bandai still had the license, the Power Rangers. I've been wanting a more TV accurate Dragonzord for a long time, and I'm glad that they actually did that. And you see, one of the best things about Dragonzord's tail, for those who still probably own Dragonzord in his legacy version, you can do all kinds of articulation with the tail, and you even can do some neat stop motion with the tail too. I had the stand with the Dragonzord, but I put it somewhere, but I'm not going to grab it because I'm kind of too lazy doing that during the review. I don't want to waste people's time just to get this over with. There is bits of die-cast, but I've noticed that there's some parts of the toy that's die-cast that was making a tinking sound when I was tapping my finger on what's metal and what isn't. And also Dragonzord, this is like the heaviest one, because even though I'm glad I didn't get the black and gold Dragonzord, even though back when I did my third season of toy reviews in 2016, I wanted to do the black and gold Dragonzord, but nah, stick to the originally colored Dragonzord, because the black and gold stuff that they did during Dino Supercharge 4 years ago was kind of unnecessary. Although I minded it, but it's just for some reason they didn't need to do a black and gold one, knowing that if you got the original, if you got this, what was the point of getting the black and gold? All it is just all this black and gold, knowing there's already black and gold on this Dragonzord. So what the heck do we need an all black version for? Even though, yeah, Dragonzord back in the original MMPR toy line in 1993 for season 1's toys did not have Dragonzord's black and gold edition. Only the original Megazord got a black and gold release, but Dragonzord and Titanus did not include one. This Dragonzord is definitely Zord Builder compatible, because you can see some Zord Builder ports. Well, I kind of missed that already, even though I thought the gimmick was fine for a while throughout the last decade, but I just felt like, well, since we're on Hasbro's turf, well, ain't no point. I could have did a review of the Soul of Chigogan Dragonzord, but nah, I'd rather stick with Legacy, even though, yeah, Soul of Chigogan does look pretty impressive, by the way. I know that on the original 90s Dragonzord, the chest piece here with the red orbs and stuff, there was a lot of gold die-cast, gold shininess, like the gold on my lamp here, like this kind of gold on the Dragonzord's chest from the original 90s toy. But here, this is solidly painted, so that way it wouldn't be all shiny and show all that shiny reflection like on the original 90s toy. The gold here looks pristine and much more ornate than as opposed to in the original 90s toy. Even though, unlike the 90s toy, it seems like all the stuff they did with this legacy version, when it was still a thing, the legacy the original 90s toy had all this shiny reflective gold to it, but the legacy version decided to make it more die-cast and more metal without the the shininess to it. Everything is all painted, everything is applied all together on each part, and you can get Dragonzord foot imprints all over Dragonzord's body, and it's pretty neat, because Dragonzord is not supposed to have all this green, even though this was Tommy's original Zord, the badass Godzilla, the badass Mecha Godzilla that we come to know and love for so long. And I've waited to get Dragonzord for years, guys, but even when I couldn't afford this back in 2014 and up until last year, I've wanted to get the Dragonzord. I got Dragonzord last year back around the same time, because I've been wanting to get the Dragonzord since it first came out after the Dragon Dagger, because in 2014 during Super Mega Force, though, they were selling a bunch of Green Ranger, Tommy Green Ranger stuff that year, but the Dragon Dagger and this, and because for all the flack I give about Tommy being the original Green Ranger, I gotta realize that this is the Zord that kicked off his badassery of him being the greatest Ranger ever lived status. And Dragonzord is perfect. I mean, this was just as close, but even though if I were to get the Soul of Chigogan one, the Soul of Chigogan one would be much more super uber mega fantastic than the Legacy toy, because for those who probably already have the Solar Chigogan one, you know, go for it. I mean, Legacy is all I can afford, but if I were to have enough to have over $300 or more to buy the Bandai Japan Solar Chigogan Dragon Seizure / Dragonzord, then what I have to do, sell this off and go for the Solar Chigogan one? Well, I guess that's my choice, I guess. Yeah, Dragonzord, speaking of which, I'm too lazy to get his interchangeable hands. Come on, with my hands! My other hands! Where I can grab! Yeah, well, I actually like these hands of Dragonzord better, because this is when he was always like, you know, in the show when Dragonzord would shoot those missiles out of his fingernails and did that pew pew pew. Yeah, because actually, I like Dragonzord with these hands a lot more than the other ones, because this is where he looks way more badass and and have a lot of heavy artillery on him. Even though Dragonzord, speaking of which, for those who are playing Power Rangers Legacy Wars at the time of this video, Dragonzord is a playable Megazord in Legacy Wars. So yeah, that's another thing. As soon as I got I was playing Legacy Wars last year when I heard Dragonzord was going to be added to the game's Zord roster, and that's what made me want to get this, because when Hasbro was about to put their stuff out with Lightning Collection and all that stuff, Legacy Wars released Dragonzord, so I'm like, man, I gotta go on Amazon and get me one of these, because I've been waiting 6 years, or at the time last year, 5 years in retrospect, to get Dragonzord, because within the last 2 years after that 2017 movie 5-in-1 combining Megazord review, I kind of got exhausted, guys. But luckily I'm back doing reviews. Okay, there is some parts of him where you can, if I was to have the original Megazord, the Legacy one actually, I would do the Mega Dragonzord combination first with the Mastodon, Saber-Tooth Tiger, and Triceratops Zords. But let's take off some pieces of Dragonzord so I could get a semblance of what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm taking off some parts of Dragonzord at this rate. So what I'm gonna have to do is take off, well, if I were to have the Legacy toy of the original Megazord, I would have did the Mega Dragonzord combination if I could, but unfortunately I don't have that Megazord. So if I were to have it, I would have the Mega Dragonzord do this formation. I'm trying to get the chest off. I forgot how to do this because I just got this since last year, and of all the times I've seen Dragonzord in different modes during season 1. Okay, I got that part off. Okay, then I have to fold in the hands within Dragonzord, so artillery, even though when you flip up his chest to do the Ultra Zord combination, this is how Dragonzord looks with the formation of the Ultra Zord, especially with the Mega Dragonzord. And then of course, well, we'll get to that part later. But what I was saying was, if I were to have the original Legacy, if I were to have the original Megazord from the Legacy line, or Solar Chigogan, which one is portable and compatible, if that works or not, this is how Dragonzord would work and look like if I were to have those 3 Zords of the Mastodon, Triceratops, and Saber-Tooth Tiger. But then, yeah, because that's just how I would have did Dragonzord if I were to. I kind of is like, how am I going to do this? I mean, even though this is the first time owning something from season 1 MMPR, because of all the times I talked crap about it, even though I shouldn't, because there's a lot of people who love MMPR, and especially season 1's Dino Zords and a Dragonzord, so I gotta respect that. Because of all the times I've been talking so much crap about season 1, I gotta respect, the team that started it all, especially the first season, where everything started with all, tropes and trends for Power Ranger seasons to come, including my favorite season. But we're talking MMPR here, something that I should have gotten back in 2014 when I was 21 going on 22 years old, if I still had the money to afford some of the stuff that they had. So yeah, and this, even though if I were to have those 3 Zords to do this formation. Dragonzord would be freaking heavy because of the weight on his feet and legs, because all this is all die cast here, because that's why yeah, that's what I would do if I were to have the original Megazord and did do that formation. Okay, now let's do Dragonzord's other form if I were to do it, and when I would get the original Megazord and then have Dragonzord together. Now this is heavy here, because this is how the Dragonzord would look if I were to do the Mega Dragonzord formation number 2 with the original Megazord, with Dragonzord's, you know, body overall limped up here, and then the Megazord would have Dragonzord's head over its head, which is again, I've seen Zoo Ranger and MMPR, so I know how this looks in this formation. So yeah, that's about it, guys, even though I gotta put everything back in order, because this is just a little quick and short review, even though it's like how many minutes based on the recording, because it's kind of crazy that Dragonzord took a long time for me to get my hands on him, because I just wish I had him a long time ago and sooner, but luckily I'm glad I do have him, because without this thing, I wouldn't even have a major MMPR collection as an adult fan now, because this is just something I've been wanting to do for years and finally have it. Oh, and let's put the tail back on. Yeah, and also when I had the stand, the tail was, you know, putting the tail and then the stand for the staff is very heavy. So yeah, that was Legacy Dragonzord, guys. I mean, even though this is my take on the Dragonzord review, because I should have did it years ago, but I was just too busy on stuff, and you know the rest. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, subscribe and such, and I'm off for now. Thanks for watching.